Welcome back, Officers of the Republic. It's your Coruscant Underworld Police Chief, APGAINS here. It's the second day of January, which means the new year, 2022, is off to a great start. I'm having a great new year. Hopefully you guys are as well. Let me know how your New Year's Eve, your New Year's went. Hopefully all of you guys are just doing fantastic, and we can get this year off on a good foot. We're going to talk about Grand Arena. What separates the okay rosters from the good rosters from the great, and the great from the excellent rosters? There's a lot of factors. Depending on where you are in the game, everyone's going to have a slightly different opinion depending on your GP. I'm going to break it down in the simplest possible terms for all of you guys so you can get this piece of information figured out and start applying it towards your roster in 2022 so that this can be your year and not the year of your opponent, because you're going into that GAC battle and your opponent wants to win and you want to win, but you watched an APGAINS video, so you're going to dominate. So a couple of caveats here, and before we get into caveats, link above my head to the APGAINS YouTube channel. Second channel, we do a lot of fun stuff over there. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers over on that channel before the end of January, so if you want to help out with that, that'd be awesome. But Grand Arena, we go in here, and the matchmaking, I will admit, is still terrible. Like, our opponents will have, this kind of roster, which is not great, and be 500k GP more than you. So a lot of these battles, there's a caveat, a lot of these battles if you have a good farming strategy, if you follow the APGAINS approved farming strategy, or you just have been calculated in how you've created your roster thus far. A lot of these first month of the new GAC matchups are going to be like this. They're going to be like Barry McFat Cockner versus LeBro moment. You're going to go in and you're going to know that you're going to win no matter what. You can fool around. That doesn't give you a lot of useful information. I actually have no idea what my opponent's roster looks like. SLKR push, 500k GP more than me. Yeah, and this is going to be another one of those battles where you go in and you just know that you've won. But what separated my roster from this guy's roster? I mean, I haven't really spent money. I bought the Hyperdrive bundle, and I have no idea at all what this guy has spent or hasn't spent. So how can we go from this roster to, like, I don't know. My roster is not perfect. I have done a lot of stupid stuff for videos and streams, but all things considered, it's much better than that guy's roster. We're about to have Executor, have Kenobi, have all the core teams up and Relict, doing great. What did I do differently from this person? Well, first of all, squads are GAC. A lot of people will tell you mods are GAC, or spending is GAC, or whatever is GAC. GAC until you're 6 million, 7 million GP is the squads you have. Making good decisions on the squads that you go for. Sometimes people are going to rush SLKR, Sith Eternal Emperor. We're fine with that. We allow them to make those mistakes. They can come back, and maybe by the time that we're both 5 million, 6 million GP, they've caught back up to us. But ideally, if you're just starting 1 million GP, 2, 3, 4, even at 5 million GP, we want to think ahead, not for 4 years down the line, but what has our opponent done? What have we done? How are we in an advantage at that exact moment? So, when I was 3 million GP, Galactic Legend Kenobi came out. I was avoiding SLKR, I was avoiding Rey, JML, Sith Eternal Emperor, because I wasn't at the point where I felt comfortable in my roster progressing towards a Galactic Legend. And then just as I got to the point where I had all of my core teams unlocked, they're all up in relics, I was doing great in GSC, winning all my matchups, a perfect Galactic Legend for my account came out. And if you're following the APGAINS approved farming strategy, a perfect Galactic Legend for your account as well. It just so happened to be that it's still the best Galactic Legend, and part of that is luck, part of that is great planning, part of that is just it's Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, stuff changes, and you have to be willing to adapt. So making sure that your Galactic Legend, if you're 3 million, 4 million, 5 million GP, is better than your opponent's. If you're below that, it's avoiding the temptation to rush a Galactic Legend. Yes, they're great teams. Yes, you can't beat them really without a Galactic Legend unless it's JML and you use, an EP, Vader, Mara Jade lineup or whatever with Wat Tambor, and I can't remember who else is in that lineup. That's okay. Before we had a GL on this account, we were 57-0 against people with Galactic Legends because teams make GAC. So what do I mean by that? We have the Space Jesus lineup, we have the Horsecock Lock with Qui-Gon Jinn. The Omicron is probably a really, really, really good free-to-play Omicron. Qui-Gon Jinn's easy to unlock. Every player spending money or not spending money is going to have some Jedi to go really well with this. We made sure to get our gas before we got a Galactic Legend because he's the best non-Galactic Legend team. Of course, we have droids for gas, so we had our GG team. We made sure we had good bounty hunters. Both of our Revens, our CLS, we made sure we have Trey up and running. So Geos of Relics Gear 1 to Relic 7, it didn't matter because, it doesn't matter how powerful the Geos are, the Trey is going to destroy it. we had Geos, but we don't really use them. And we had all these other random things and random carriers as required. So I'm not saying that my roster is perfect. I've done a lot of stupid stuff for streams and for videos. So there's a lot of random stuff going on in here. So this is not, 100% perfectly how I'd like my roster constructed. But here's how we're going to make 2022 our year. Here's how we're going to get an even bigger advantage. We're going to go from those matchups that you saw earlier to where realistically our opponent has absolutely zero chance of winning to, I don't know, what's below zero. I mean, you can't have a negative % chance of winning. So I guess technically we'll still be just as dominant, but it's just going to be a lot more comfortable for us. It's going to give us a bigger margin of victory. And that's what we're going to want to push. That's what I'm pushing. That's what I want you guys to push in the year of our Lord 2022. So how are we going to do this? Well, dominating ships first and foremost. As you can see, I opened up Boba as the last character I need to relegate before I can start farming Executor. Of course, I don't have the Razor Crest. I did a video on that yesterday where I was pissed. You guys all saw that. Let me unfavorite all these ships actually, just because it's pissing me off. I mean, these are all great ships. These are favorited from the farming guide. These are going to be the first ships that you guys grab. Wow, this is so riveting. I know. 1 second. I promise there's a point to this. I promise there's totally a point to all this. Ships. You want to make sure that you have great ships. Ships are going to dominate your opponent. You guys know what the good ships are. The Houndstooths, the Millennium Falcons, the Anakins, the Get 2 ships, the Malevolence and Negotiator. You're going to want to make sure you're getting that. Does getting Malevolence and Negotiator fast mean you have to get into a good guild? Yes, we talk about this all the time. Very doable. Everyone complains, oh my god, not everyone can do this. Not everyone watches APGAINS videos. Make sure that you saw this video, someone else didn't. You take that advantage, get into a good guild. We want to make sure we have good ships, especially when we get to the point where it requires 2 ships on offense, 2 ships on defense. That's going to be the biggest point where the APGAINS approved farming strategy goes from like beating the brakes off of people to like you can laugh and like stroke Promiscuous Penguin's head while your opponent cries in the prep phase because of ships. After ships, we want to make sure we not only have all of our core squads down, but sometimes squads like I have my gas where it was just a Relic 5 gas and everyone else was like gear 10. I can still do great things with gas 501st where they're all gear 10. I can Relic 5s and then hope for a sacrifice and get them boosted. I can fully Relic them and make that team super strong. There's lots of teams where you can have, a couple of good characters. Like this Separatist team down here that we've been using forever. Like, this is not a great team. It doesn't even have 5 Separatists. Bam is in here, for God's sakes. But a Relic 7 Jango Fett either will snipe people and really piss them off, or they'll overestimate, a pre-damage immunity Jango Fett Relic 7 high damage and take in something a little bit stronger, and we can get an advantage from that. But what's really going to set us over the edge is finishing off these teams, turning teams like this CLS squad from solid, but if it was Relic 5, Relic 5, Relic 5, Relic 5, Relic 5, or more likely Relic 4, Relic 5, Relic 5, Relic 5, Relic 5, because we want him to have guard. That team goes from, oh man, that's rough, but I have a couple counters to like, oh my god, how am I going to beat this team? How am I going to have this? If this was instead of HK, this was a Relic Marauder or a Relic Sith Empire Trooper, now my Bounty Hunter versus Darth Revan counter is looking a little bit harder. Now my Darth Revan versus Darth Revan counter is looking a little bit harder. Now my Darth Revan versus Gas counter is looking a little bit harder. How can I bump up this Bounty Hunter team to make them even better? I got Dengar Cat and IG-88. Not optimal. I run Aura Singh. I Relic my, my Grief and my Mando. Now this team goes from like, oh, this is a solid Relic 5, Relic 7 Bounty Hunter team across the board because of requirements, to this is a squad right here. This beats Gas. This beats Darth Revan. How do I get to the point where my GG team is, this, and then maybe you add Watt, or maybe I add a Relic Newt, and then my opponent's not comfortable using Jedi Knight Revan because I'm going in so much damage, and if they don't have, a fully Relic 7 Jedi Knight Revan, Hoda lineup where they get a bunch of protection, they recover, they assist a lot, and they can survive the onslaught, they're more scared. How do I go from my Gas looking like this to my Gas Relic 7 across the board to where my opponent's like, I don't even know if a Gas mirror match is going to beat this. Those are the things you want to do. What am I going to do in the future? I'm going to try to get my Gas up. I'm going to make sure I unlock my Executor. I'm going to get my Bounty or my Bad Batch up. So I have another team. I'm going to get my M Troopers finally up so that I have a good offensive team if I need to do a weak offensive thing. We want to make sure we're in the position where our teams are solid, because a team is different from when it's a good team to when it's a perfect team. When it's perfectly constructed, you think about it differently. Thank you guys so much for watching. Of course, we're trying to get 15,000 subscribers. When we do, we'll break into Capital Games headquarters, steal the one laptop they used to control the entire game, and give every single player one cup shard. Again, reminder, link above my head, go to my second channel. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, I love you, and I'll see you later.